Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Greg Mosley, and I work for El Toro Internet Marketing. Thank you for watching this quick video on how IP targeting can be a politician's competitive edge during election season. In this presentation, we're going to cover three topics, really. We're going to talk about the product, the strategy as it relates to political, and how you're going to measure results. Before we talk about IP targeting, please remember that this technology has been used on over 400 political campaigns. So this is not a test. It is a proven, effective strategies that these politicians can use to help give them a competitive edge. Also, just remember that these types of campaigns enable us to target a much higher frequency than traditional media. So for those of you who aren't familiar with IP targeting, here's how it works. We basically take the list of physical addresses with zip codes, run them through our IP algorithm, and find the IP address associated with that specific mailing address. After we find the IP address, we can then serve a digital banner or video ad to those matched households at their modem, router, or what we call the IP level. This is all done without the use of cookies and is patented pending technology. Now, it's estimated that over $1 billion will be spent this year on political advertising on the national level. Now on the state and local level, they're estimating that over $500 million will be spent on ballot initiative and local offices. So today we're going to talk about really quickly who you should contact, what you should say to them, and what is the strategy when using IP targeting for political. So let's start off with a list of who you should target. Here it is. Now remember that there will be more than one candidate running for each of these offices, so there may be 20 offices here, but the opportunity may be greater depending on how many candidates are running for a particular office. Also, don't forget about any key ballot initiatives that may be needed to advertise as well. Now, two people that you need are the campaign manager and the digital campaign manager. Now, in some cases, you'll find that they may not have one or the other or either. If that's the case, you really want to speak to the actual political candidate themselves or the governing entity for that particular ballot initiative. You can find the names of the people running in your office by state by using the Secretary of State website, the County Board of Elections website, and of course, good old Google and Wikipedia. Now, once you find them, you have to have a VBR or a valid business reason, an impactful and powerful reason that they're going to meet with you. On the screen here, you see a few examples to get you started. But remember, this is why they need to meet with you. Now, one of the most important questions you can ask these guys is how many votes do they need to win the race? Remember, this is an estimation, but it really helps determine what your budgeting recommendation is going to be. Now, another key piece of information is that on average, politicians spend about $37 per one vote. And 25% of their total ad budget will be spent on digital. How do you make a budgeting recommendation? Well, let's look at the math if a politician needed 2,000 votes to win their race. Here's the calculation here. So if a politician needs 2,000 votes to win the race, and on average they spend about $37 per one vote, and we know that 25% of their budget is digital, you're going to ask this guy for $18,500. What's great about this is that you're not asking for some arbitrary number that you're pulling out of the clouds. You're instead taking political information that you've done your research on and then giving them a really good calculation or really good recommendation in terms of what they should spend on digital. So that's basically how you get your foot in the door. And now let's talk about the product, the strategy, and the results. This is a one-sheet takeaway that you can give to the prospective client or politician so that way they can understand what exactly it is you're talking about once you leave. So we've already talked about the product, but in this case we're going to take publicly registered voter information and transfer those physical addresses to IP addresses and serve them targeted digital ads. Now, a really big benefit of this is that when you have a list of Republicans and a list of Democrats, you can serve different messages to each of the segments. With traditional display, cookie-based digital advertising, you cannot. Now, in terms of the strategy, as I mentioned at the very beginning, we're talking about serving these ads at the IP router level 30 to 45 days before the election, depending on what their budget is, and at a 50 to 90x frequency, again, depending on what their budget is. We want to have the maximum reach and the maximum impact. Because the way that results are measured are a little bit different. It's really about touches. So as you see here, the third bullet is result. Now, digital campaign results are measured by votes. They're not registered by site visits, phone calls, conversion, form fills, all of the other metrics that typically are used to measure digital campaign. Political campaigns are about how many times can we deliver our message to a person so they remember when they hit the voting box. So In essence, the more touches, the better. This is, as I said, a one sheet that you guys can use to share with clients. You can integrate it in your presentations, but really kind of frames all the information about the product, about what we're going to do, and how we're going to measure the results. Thank you to everyone that has watched this video and has a better understanding of how to use IP targeting in the political category. If you have any questions or want to run anything by me, my information is on the screen. Please feel free to email, call, or text me, and have a great day. Thanks, guys.